So many years ago, back in the 1980s, when I was a school teacher at an elementary school in New York City, and it would take me about 45 minutes at that time to get home from work. And, like after a long day at work, and then plus had test papers to correct, at home and blah, blah, blah. The last thing I felt like doing was cooking. But even back then, I saw that the prices were getting crazy and creepy, so I decided that I didn't mind taking a couple of hours on the weekend and batch cooking. Hi, this is Jan. I'm from New York City. I truly love helping people keep some more of their own hard-earned money. Could that be you? Welcome to another money type of Monday. There's a product that a family member picked up, and I have to say, well, part of it was due to the store where the person picked it up, and also, inflationary prices, or just plain greed from that particular store. Okay. Those chunky types of soups that kind of like a soup, that kind of like a stew, somewhere in the middle, like some people would refer to as a stoop. And they're delicious. Don't get me wrong. They're very handy, very convenient. You could share that with about 1.5 to 2 people. I don't know who the half person would be, but let's just say honestly, they don't share very, very well. 1.5 is my really way I'm leaning on it. So normally the average price for those is in about the $3.59 range. Okay. And the price that that person family member picked it up for was in the almost 5.99 range. Needless to say, I was having a little bit of a quiet to myself hissy fit. I said, wow, this just brought to mind, it's just one of those items truly in life that we can manufacture ourselves and put away. All right, so that particular flavor, one of them was a chicken one, and he really didn't care for it. And then the other one was a beef one, which was okay, it was pretty good for the product. But we don't have to always spend so much money to have really, really good things. As a matter of fact, I asked myself, what is the appeal of these types of in between soup and not quite a stew? That gravy, it's sort of like a thicker than regular soup broth, but not quite very, very ultra thick. That's so easy to achieve by using a little bit of cornstarch. So let's say that you take your favorite vegetables, and the funny part is, like when people say, "Well, I never had a canned potato in my life." Well, can I tell you something? If you've ever broken out a can of canned soup that had vegetables in it, 9 out of 10, you probably had a canned potato in there. Many times they're diced, many times they're not, or maybe little chunks, squares, or whatever. And I said to myself, no, 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 no. I could easily achieve this on my own. And if I prefer it with fresh vegetables, if I prefer, or if I don't prefer, I could get the canned vegetables because it's already canned anyway, the kind that some people are willing to pay almost $6 a can for. And even 3.59 is kind of on the high side for something that you're only getting 1.5 servings out of, in my honest. So let's say you're making yourself a beef soup, but you want it a little more thickly. You just add cornstarch to the broth. You just follow the directions, get some recipe out like that. You don't even have to slice and dice vegetables and always keep mixed vegetables on hand. You could get the frozen kind. The frozen kind, there's something to be said also about the frozen vegetables because you can use them as you go along. You open the bag, take out a handful, throw them in whatever recipe that you have decided to use. Okay. So it's just a thought. Just imagine in a typical, medium to larger size crock pot, how many servings of that similar soup, stew, stoop can you create at home for a fraction of that, a lot more. And if you do the math, you will literally be saving a ton of money. Honestly, it all adds up over time. In the short term, it adds up, and definitely in the long term. And let's switch gears for a minute. Here's another couple of well, a couple of items that, in my honest opinion, again, my opinion, things that I mean, do we really have to get at the grocery store? I mean, honestly, okay? Now, some people like to buy chopped nuts, for example, to make a homemade sundae at home. I'm not saying it's not fun. I'm not saying it's not delicious. I'm sure it all is. But the question begs, is this something we really need? Now, if you want texture, okay, on top of your ice cream, let's say you got, the store brand of ice cream for a very good price, and you didn't decide to spend a ton of money on that hot fudge sauce, the kind that you put in the microwave for a few seconds. Ay, 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 that stuff is really expensive. Yes, I know it's very delicious. I hear you. But is it necessary? These are some fluffery items one could consider taking away from their grocery store bill. I'm just saying, just saying. So why not get a swap out item? You might have some cookies that you could just simply crush a cookie or two on top of your ice cream. Oh, by the way, I have a very, very easy trick, couple of little easy frozen dessert type of tricks. Number one, if you like chocolate chip cookies and you get a good deal on them, the store brand, right? You can make your own chocolate chip witch type ice cream sandwiches with a little bit of vanilla ice cream in between the 2 cookies. You wrap them up, have a smaller version, you put it in your freezer, and you eat them whenever you want. You could take the same trick, same method, take graham crackers, yeah, 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 and you could take a frozen dessert topping, like the Cool Whip type of topping, and you could put that in between your graham crackers and wrap those up as ice cream sandwiches. You see, you're still getting the fun of a dessert, but you're cutting down on it because, like, the chopped nuts topping could be really, really expensive. And as far as that hot fudge sauce, I reiterate, I am not saying it is not delicious. So please know that I agree with you. But it is really costly. I mean, I've seen it, like, pretty up there locally, and I say to myself, "Do people really have to spend money on that?" Now, let's suppose you just happen to have a little bit of, let's say, like a Hershey type of syrup, like the kind that you make chocolate milk with. You could pour a little bit of pinch of that on there. It's not gonna be thick, but it'll give you that ooey gooey chocolatey burst of flavor if you really, really, really need it. Or again, you could crush some other topping on top. Those little containers of chocolate sprinkles, they're up there in price too. I don't know. Do the math. If you happen to have small, like those miniature chocolate chips, you could always throw a few of those on the top. Get creative and save some money. It all adds up in the long run. All right. How do you save money, like on frivolous things? You want the treat? How do you modify it? I personally, now I know this sounds like crazy, but I personally like to have, let's say, yogurt, for example, and maybe some crushed. Sometimes I would throw some, what do you call that? Wheat germ on top. I like to put wheat germ on top of yogurt. That's my version of a topping on top of something cold and smooth. And yes, fruit also works very, very well. We could get creative and we could save money at the same time. Why not? There you go. All right, everybody, have an amazing, fantastic day. Don't forget to click like, share, and subscribe to this channel.